Alright guys, thanks for clicking on our video. This video is about entrepreneurship project whereby we interviewed Dato Lau Siu Wai as our entrepreneur and explored various topics. Let me first introduce ourselves. My name is Krish and my topic is opportunity recognition.
My name is Johnny and I'll be doing sources of finance.
My name is Chloe and I will be talking about succession planning.
My name is Albert and I'll be talking about strategic planning.
We have explored this topic in depth and I hope you enjoy the video. Dato Lau Siu Wai has been the people's favorite businessman in Miri. Having started his business career from Miri Secondary School, he is now well known as an affluent real estate developer. He is also one of the key co-founder of Curtin Sarawak. Some of his other significant projects include Bintang Mega Mall, Merit's Hotel, and Tenbai International School. And in the future, he aims to build Asia's largest water resorts and visions of turning Miri into one of the biggest tourist attractions in Malaysia. His story of becoming a successful businessman from a humble family in China has inspired many young entrepreneurs in Miri. My area of research is regarding opportunity recognition. The opportunity recognition is actually the primary agenda to be done by every entrepreneur. For example, Tony Fernandez identified that there is a niche market for low-cost airlines, and he explored that market, and now we can see that it has grown into something big. But it all started with recognizing that opportunity in the first place. Similar case goes to Steve Jobs identifying a niche market in personal computing and smartphones. Well, based on my research, I found out that there are four main requirements for entrepreneurs to identify an opportunity. Number one is the occurrence of changes. Barron, one of the experts in entrepreneurship, suggested that there should be a change in terms of many angles. For example, there should be a change in economy, there should be a change in technology, there should be a change in terms of market, and so forth, for an entrepreneur to identify an opportunity. And now when we relate this theory to real life example, based on our interview with Dato Lau, I found out that he himself went through a lot of changes. One particular interesting changes was the war. He actually lived through the Second World War, whereby after the Second World War, many people were actually left without a house, basically. So there was a need to be fulfilled. There was a demand for actually even the basic houses. So he actually identified this opportunity and started his real estate company, and he started to build just affordable houses. And the second kind of changes that is quite interesting is whereby he noticed that over the years he's been running the business, there has been economical changes. Economical changes as in, to start off with, after the Second World War, people preferred affordable houses. And then after a bit of years, like let's say after 10 years, people started to move in for double stories, terrace houses, and a bit more luxurious houses. And finally, nowadays you can see a lot of luxurious semi-D bungalows being developed in Miri. So as you can see that economical changes creates demand, which is basically the opportunity that entrepreneurs need to look out for and in order to identify an opportunity. Alright, the next important factor for opportunity recognition is networking, or otherwise known as social capital. Now, throughout my research, I found out that entrepreneurs with large contact base, who are actually filled with a stronger networking skill, tend to find opportunities rather easily, because they are exposed to information that is otherwise left unknown for any other entrepreneur. Now, relating this to Dato Lau's case, Dato Lau points out that networking is one of the critical tools for entrepreneurs. He regularly meets up with industry people, like for example, he meets up with land and survey authorities, the council, the Ministry of Housing, the Ministry of Environment, and also the Ministry of Natural Resources and State Planning, which actually remains as one of the important sources for him to get to know latest information and secret or otherwise unknown information to publics. So with this information in place, he can come up with other opportunities that can actually be turned into business opportunities. Now the next important factor for opportunity recognition is creativity. Creativity is actually the process of integrating problems and opportunity in order to arrive at business opportunity. Experts define creativity as the capacity of entrepreneurs to broaden and cross the boundary of existing realities. Now, in the case of Dato Lau, he had no capital to start off his first business, which was a primary school. And at that time, the government passed a law whereby 70% of the students could not progress to the next level of education. So he found it a point to start a primary school in Miri. Now, since he did not have money, he actually ran, instead of going for loans or mortgages, he actually convinced regular day-to-day people like the coffee shop owner, the grocery shop owner, or a teacher, all of them who had children, to be a shareholder in his company. So once he convinced them, he had accumulated enough money to start off his primary school. And this method of finding capital for his business can be deemed entirely creative. Alright, another important point for opportunity recognition is having a proper cognitive ability. Cognitive ability is basically the mental information processing capacity. Now, this capacity is actually developed based on key factors such as knowledge, which is usually driven from education of the industry, or previous business experience, and combined with alertness, which comes with the active observation of current businesses. Now, when we compare this to Dato Lau, he actually has a good cognitive ability, proven because he has already started Miri Primary School prior to real estate business. And on top of that, he regularly trains his mind to be alert and analyze surroundings on a daily basis. He also implied that he's actually very friendly, and he takes this as one of the competitive advantage he has over other entrepreneurs, because he says that being friendly means that customers feel comfortable when they come to complain about their problems or their demands. So when customers constantly contact you regarding their demands, you would be able to process that together with your prior business knowledges and integrate them into an opportunity which you can exploit. So definitely in this term, Dato Lau succeeds as part of having a good cognitive ability.
The topic that will be discussed today will be finance. It is a study of how entrepreneurs prefer one source of funding from another. My area would be focusing on the type of funding sources entrepreneurs prefer to use. Finance consists of financial systems which include public, private, and the government, which can be related to countless assets and liabilities. Yo, it's me again, part 2. In Dr. Lau's case, we have categorized finance under 3 sections known as informal investors, or bootstrapping, debt financing, and equity financing, and to see which sources of finance Dr. Lau has used. Informal investors are known as friends, families, founders, and foolhardy investors was Dr. Lau's main source of finance during the setup of his organization. According to researchers, most entrepreneurs prefer to find sources of finance from these formal investors to start up their organization compared to debt financing or equity financing. For example, in Dr. Lau's case, he used 3,000 RM to start up his organization and obtained cash from friends, aunties, uncles to help him. Caesar, a researcher, stated that most entrepreneurs that use bootstrapping must be creative to generate more cash with the current cash in hand. Dr. Lau agreed with this statement too. He stated that without using funds smartly or creatively, a business will fail. He told us from his experience that he was left alone with no funds as other shareholders did not support his idea and backed out, leaving him in bankrupt despite completing his project. However, he soon regained and repaid his debt by working and soon started to develop again. It's 3 p.m. guys and we're still filming, still going strong. Debt financing was the next best source of funding Datuk Lau has used. Debt financing are mainly through borrowing money from banks, given back at an interest rate. Researchers also state that if entrepreneurs was to choose debt financing or equity financing, most would use debt financing. Dr. Lau also agreed to this. The main type of debt financing he uses as a real estate owner is mainly through banks. Without these banks to support him, he stated that it would be difficult in terms of carrying out projects. There are two main types of bank loan, short-term and long-term. Short-term loans are repaid within a year, while long-term loans are credit paid back later than a year. Dr. Lau uses both of these types, for example, for long-term to carry out new projects around Senadin area, and for short-terms are things like borrowing of vehicle or laborers from contractors. Next would be equity financing. Out of 136 firms, over 70 often receive more than one offer and 54% receive 3 or more of the offers from venture capitalists. However, most entrepreneurs prefer to obtain their funds from informal investors. This is because venture capitalists expect more return on investment compared to banks or informal investors. Datuk Lau did not use equity financing due to his experience, as he has issued shares in the previous years and did not succeed from this. However, Dr. Lau also agreed to this statement. Entrepreneurs should be wise in choosing the types of fundings to fund their organization's operations. One of the reasons to why he was unsuccessful in the past was due to finding investors.
Hey guys, I will be talking about succession planning. Succession planning is about choosing a suitable successor to take over the current business. Based on my findings, I have divided it into 4 aspects. The first one will be the successful business model, qualification of successors, business management, and the last one will be the criteria in choosing suitable successor. Findings, I realized that big business tend to have bigger need for succession planning, and I know that Dr. Lau has invested in manufacturing, education, housing, and hotel industry, and this has turned Miri from a fishing village to a modern city. So it is very important for him to continue running his business, so there will be a high need for succession planning. The next aspect will be the qualification of success, and I have divided this into 2 categories, which are the health and management skill. According to Dr. Gabby, it is important for one to maximize his health while building his wealth. Dr. Lau ever told us that he works 16 hours a day, so without a healthy body, he cannot sustain to work for a long hour and produce good work. And for the management skill, I have divided it into 2 categories as well, which are the employee performance management and succession planning. From my finding, it is important for a successful business to manage their employee well, because they are the important tangible assets. And Dr. Lau said that he will direct to check whether his employees are performing up to his expected standard. And for the next is future planning. From what I found, it shows that one who has future plan will has more long-term value than those who are simply allowed to grow without a plan. And this fits Datuk Lau's statement because he said he will look for another job before he finish one as to command the faithfulness of the people who are working under him. For the next aspect, business management, findings show that an older entrepreneur has better performance in predicting the success of the business and make less mistakes. This fits Datuk Lau's statement where he said that with the experience and wisdom he gathered throughout the years has helped him in reducing the possibility of mistakes and come up with more accurate decisions. Here's my last aspect now. My last aspect is criteria in choosing suitable successor. Findings show that it's very common for Chinese entrepreneurs to pass their business to their grandson, and this fits Datuk Lau's statement as well because he ever wished to pass his business to his grandson. But he declared that a successful businessman should have a broader and wider horizon where they should include outsider to be their successor as well, and this has been supported by the finding which state that not only family members are qualified to be the successor, but also the outsider who have better knowledge and capabilities.
Hey everybody! The area I would like to focus on today is strategic planning. Strategic planning talks about the strategic alignment of an entrepreneur's business analysis and assessment that translates into vision, internally coherent strategic goals, integrated plans to achieve those goals along with close association with various organizational plans and practices. Now, Datuk Lau has definitely made a detailed assessment on the business environment for his strategic plan. For example, in 1962, after the Second World War and Japanese occupation, many buildings in Miri are destroyed and a few families are sharing a single room. So there's definitely an urgency to build more houses. Furthermore, in 1964, secondary school in Miri can only accommodate 30% of students that finishes their primary educations. This presents an opportunity to provide a private education to the community. Okay. Now, to achieve the strategic objectives, Datuk Lau has laid out multiple roadmaps. These plans are of course confidential, but he did share several plans with us. First and foremost, Datuk Lau are going to reduce the volatility in prices of construction material by engaging the manufacturing of those materials himself. In addition, he will also build houses that caters to the different economic income of Miri's community. So, lastly, it is also evident that Datuk Lau utilizes operational realignment and renewal in his strategic plans. In his long entrepreneurial career that spanned over 50 years, Datuk Lau has previously failed 3 times. Yet, through countless struggles, he has achieved his previous target of constructing 12,000 homes, 500 shop lots at the Miri's Hotel at the heart of the city. Despite all that, at the age of 82, Datuk Lau continues to make new assessments, alter his vision, align his objectives, as well as plan accordingly. Now, he will continue his lifelong vision to be the major property developer in Miri by developing more real estate until he reaches the target of 30,000 homes and 600 job lots.
Alright guys, now we are at the end of the video whereby we determine whether or not Datuk Lau is truly an entrepreneur. From my perspective, opportunity recognition, I can see that he has a highly developed cognitive skill and is able to digest significant changes and information in order to turn it into an opportunity which he can capitalize. Now, how about you, Johnny?
As for my topic, yes, I think that he is an entrepreneur in sources of finance. This is because he knows how to use his startup capital to generate more capital and multiplying that capital to generate more capital.
As for my part, with the efforts and contribution made by Datuk Lau to stimulate the economy and the way how he managed his business, I can assure that Datuk Lau is a successful business entrepreneur in terms of succession planning. How about you, Albert?
Well, according to the literature by Burkhardt and Rose, an entrepreneur is someone who engages in strategic planning that has 5 components. The business person must be able to first analyze and assess the business environment and then translate this observation into his vision, strategic objective, and operational plans. Finally, he must use operational alignment and renewal to respond to various changes in the environment to fulfill his intention. Based on my previous example and elaboration, I truly believe that Dato' Lau fits the definition from the literature and he is a successful entrepreneur. Well, so I guess this is the end of our entrepreneurship video. On behalf of the team, Chris, Johnny and Chloe, I hope this has been an informative video for you and thank you for watching.